What's up everybody, it's Soul, and the other day I came across this mod on the workshop called the Vampire Inquisition, which is apparently an alpha, and it sort of reminded me of Elf Destiny, where the goal is to add a supernatural element to vanilla, or just the regular world of Crusader Kings 3, rather than something like Princes of Darkness, which aims to recreate its own vampiric world in the time of night. I'm very curious to see this. Because it's an alpha, I don't think we're going to be playing it properly today, but I do want to show you how you can mess with it, and we'll just read a few things about it in game, and maybe we'll mess with it for like 10-20 minutes or something, just to give it a little look. So what you're going to do here is you're going to come over to Landless Adventurers, and you're going to zoom on in here to France. I know, I'm sorry. But there's two different characters you can pick. We have Lady Escarmond, the Queen of the Night, who is 666 years old. Very nice touch. This is who I have on the thumbnail, so that's who we're going to click. And you also have Lord Vladimir. Literally, it's Lord Harkonnen. That's what he looks like. he's like the figurehead of the mod itself, so if you look at it on the workshop, you'll see him. But we're going to click the Queen of the Night here. We'll hit start. And as you can see, we are a vampire, which should show up right here. So we are an ancient vampire, and we're going to just read through a couple of these things, and maybe we'll look at some of the decisions and stuff. But I don't plan on like really giving this a go until it's maybe a little further along. It's still an alpha. As far as I understand, they're still really in the early stages of working on this, but I wanted to highlight it for you guys so you can just get a feel for what you could potentially do going forward. So let's look at the lady here. The Queen of the Night. Civilization was brought to the Knights of Gaul, not through the blade or fang, but through unearthly charm and keen insight. So she is the Queen of the Night. She is gregarious, she's ambitious, she's patient, and she's calm. So she's got a lot going on for her. She's got really good stats. She's part of something known as the Court of the Night, the way of unlife followed by those who pay obedience to the Queen of the Night. So it's a religion that follows her specifically. By decree, vampires shall live in secret harmony with the mortal populace. Yep, she is the head of the faith. They have ritual celebrations, Christian syncretism, and sacred lies, so they're allowed to lie, I'm assuming, about themselves. And they have a few different holy sites. It looks like they're basically just opposite Christianity. It's kind of what I'm getting the vibe from here. And then she's also French, which we don't need to read that. They're obviously not real. She's got a level 5 diplomacy. We've got a gardener here. She's an herbalist. She's august. She's a matriarch. So she's got basically the whole diplomacy tree filled out. She's got Siren Song, and this is interesting because this is from the new lifestyle tree, and we'll go into that in a second. She's a legendary reveler, so she loves to get down, party. She's an ancient vampire, which you probably saw in the thumbnail. This gives various bonuses. Looks like some plus 20 prowess, a huge health boost. I'm assuming they're immortal, more or less. Lower public opinion, but I guess they'd have to know you were a vampire. I believe from what I read that if somebody discovers a vampire is a vampire, you get like the vampire hunter trait, maybe, something like that. I think that's what I was reading. Vampire hunter is going to be added a little bit later, but that's just like an early thing. So there's humanity. To remember the joys and sorrows of one's human nature can be painful, but necessary to retain one's sense of self. If you lose all sense of humanity, you can become feral. That's cool. She's got eternal beauty because she's immortal, and I'm assuming was turned relatively early, and she has unnatural youth. So her life expectancy is plus 500 years. I would assume she could live to be like 1,000 in-game concepts, probably until the end of the world, or like the end of the game, realistically, so effectively immortal. What I wanted to do now is jump into this lifestyle tree. So there's a new vampire tree, and there is a charisma tree, a might tree, and an insight tree. So she has the charisma focus. She's got charming presence. She's got speak to animals. She's got sweet nothings. It looks like a lot of different scheme bonuses from what I'm seeing in this tree. Vassal opinion. Siren Song, what does that do? Having mastered the manipulation of the mind, no one can resist your call. Okay, so you basically, this is like a seductress diplomatic one. That makes sense. And then there's also Dragon Scion. Dragon Scion is a physical focused one, like it's might, brute force. So basically this would be the one if you wanted to be like some beastly immortal vampire war god, which would be really cool. Actually, Dragon Scion, what does that give you? Your might transcends the physical plane. The mere thought of you inspires fear and awe. Very cool. And then we have All Seeing, and this is sort of like the scholarly one. I'm assuming this is more realm focused. Yeah, I mean, with the taxes, with the Fate Weaver, you get Shrewd. Oh, nice. All Seeing gives you quite a bit of bonuses, a lot of stewardship per stress level. Oh my god. So if you're just stressed out of your mind, you're going to be making crazy amounts of money. And then a couple other cool things here. So instead of having a territory like normal, they did something clever. They gave you a lair, which is just your villa, although I'm kind of surprised that the Queen of the Vampires has a level 1 villa. That's kind of odd. You'd think that they'd have a little bit more. And I'm going to scroll through here just to see if there's any new buildings. Mercenary connections. Great estate schemes. I think some of these, I mean, most of these look like the same from what I'm remembering. They don't look too different. Meditation garden. So I'm assuming over time they're going to add stuff that's like, oh, these are vampire focused rather than it's just a general estate. Remember, this is an alpha, which is why I didn't want to do like a crazy playthrough of it. I just wanted to show it to you. It doesn't look like you can move your lair though. The price is very expensive, incredibly so. There's a couple other different things. So like militarily speaking, you can actually get vampires, which cost 1,000 gold, but they are, I mean, in terms of CK3, this would be, you'd never be able to beat this. No mortal fighting force could hope to match the prowess of a vampire with a century of training. It's true. You would get obliterated. And she can actually almost make one of these regiments. So, I mean, you'd be pretty much GG if you had to fight this lady. She does have a vampire retinue, it looks like, and she does have elite vampires and local vampires. So I would not fight this lady if you find her. Oh, she can also get bats. This is cool with bats. The sky turns black as legions of bats descend upon their target. So they're weak, but they can counter heavy cavalry, so you could basically just like swarm bats at people, which is kind of neat. Obviously, if you're just your council, various different vampires around the world that you could play as. So you got like this guy, he's up here. Well, I guess they're not even around the world. They're mostly just like here in France or in Europe. And apparently a way you can play as the vampires without having to, do what I just did and click the land list is you can seduce his daughter. She's lustful, so she's apparently pretty easy to seduce. I don't know who you would do this as. I mean, maybe like a landless adventurer could like seduce her and then she could turn you into a vampire, because I think that they do have the capacity to do that. But she is disloyal, so I wouldn't trust her. Once she does do that, I would just, get rid of her. That seems like a smart move. We have decisions. I don't see anything. Okay, here we go. We got some decisions. We got stimulate life. Forcefully stimulating my undead body with blood will enable me to conceive children. What? Okay. We have vampiric strain. It'll give you a minus health penalty. You'll get stimulated life, which will give you an incredible fertility rating. And my lover, oh, she'll also get stimulated life. Okay, I was confused. I was like, is this my child? Did they get it too? Or you can go into hibernation. You lose madness. Oh, I see. So if you become feral, you can basically sleep if you want to. I wonder how long you're deposed. I wonder how long you sleep for, though. What does this look like? It just goes. Nothing happened. And if we were to click this, okay, well you can't click it yet. Is there any new activities? No, it would be really cool if they added like the Princess of Darkness hunt feature or the coterie feature. That could be a fun thing to add there in the future. Your augur. Okay, so it looks like there's some new court positions. Unless I'm tripping and these are already, okay, you are a vampire, you're not an adventurer. You can have a herald. You can have a sword. You can have a castellan. Oh, so you can basically have like your own inner court, which will give you various bonuses as well. That is pretty cool, actually. That's really interesting. Obviously, you'd have to work on improving your estate quite a lot. Otherwise, you'd end up... And see, that's weird, too, because you do end up having your own council. So does this guy, so he's a berserker. Does he have the... Oh, so he just did authority focus. He doesn't even have this. Okay, so he didn't go down the Dragon Scion. He probably should, because he'd have... Oh my god, his prowess would be unbelievably high. Good god. Because what is it? It gives you plus 10, plus 2, plus 4, plus 4, plus 8, and then plus 2, plus 2, plus 4. So he's missing out on 2, 4, 8, and then another 4. So 12. So he's missing out on about 12 prowess, and that would just be as a baseline. And then you can also go into prowess. I'm assuming with extra perks, maybe you can like click this, and I wonder if it's like something that you can repeatedly, if you have a perk in it, you can just repeatedly boost your prowess or your martial or whatever over and over and over again. Because if that's the case, I actually think this should be added in other trees, because that would be really cool if you had like, oh, I want to keep increasing my martial once I max out the tree. That's actually, if that's how that works, that's really cool, and I like that a lot. But honestly, what you're seeing here, this is as far as I can tell about it. I don't think there's much else. There might be a... Okay, so I'm just going to superimpose this on the screen. So apparently if you hold land as a vampire, you can also fake your own death. This would be like something that you'd have to do if people started to suspect you of being a vampire. It's kind of an interesting feature. I think that's fun. I think that the way this mod wants to work is that you're basically going to have to try and figure out how you can, one, be a ruler, but also maintain your secrecy as a vampire, which I think is fun. So apparently there's also going to be inquisitions in the game, which will target you if they discover that you're a vampire, which is actually really, really cool. And I think it's going to play into the forthcoming vampire hunter feature. And if we scroll down to the planned section, again, we're showing all of this off of the Steam page, which will be linked in the description. You have new vampire courts that they want to add. Vampire Hunters, which apparently the next release is going to focus on. Extensive story and flavor content, which I think is huge for something like this because you're going to want a way to differentiate it, sort of like what Elf Destiny does. Different hand-drawn art, although it seems like that's a later focus. Gameplay dynamics between vampires and hunters, well-designed vampire politics, and new AI for special characters. Overall, I think this is going to be something that's really fun to focus on, and also I was incorrect at the beginning of the video, because if you come to the Landless again, there you can actually play as any of the vampires, not just these two, because these two are also vampires. Remember the wolf or the perfumer? But I thought it was just these ones. I've not really messed with this. This is me trying it to mostly talk about it, as you guys heard me in the beginning. But I hope that this either encourages you to maybe give this a shot, to download it, to talk about it, to join their Discord, to join, like, whatever, and then just help them grow, because I think that CK3 needs more mods like this. I love total conversion mods, but I think things like this and Elf Destiny appeal to more players because they're still familiar with the world overall, but they're playing as this sort of supernatural thing that Crusader Kings 2 kind of had going on, and that's this game sorely missing. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I want to thank my channel members, in particular my Paladin tier members. Those would be Dwayne the Rock Lobster, Valadar, Dunyal, Zor, Luigi, Candriff, Lackland, Shadow King, Drakon. You guys are awesome. If you'd like to become a member, or if you've ever considered becoming a member, check out the perks of my membership tab on YouTube. But thank you so much for watching, and I will happily see you in the next one.